Shortly after the United States expressed concerns to Israel about the civilian toll of its weeks-long bombing campaign in Beirut, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu decided to intensify his aggression in Lebanon, with civilians harmed the most. Israel shows no signs of easing its military offensives in Lebanon after targeting municipal buildings in Nabatea, killing dozens of people, including the city's mayor, and injuring 50 others. What will the United States' response be? And when will the world realize that Israel is doing to Lebanon what it has done in Gaza? Welcome to In Depth. As Israeli forces intensify their aggression in Lebanon, the Washington Post has highlighted the aftermath of the latest strikes. According to the newspaper, Israeli forces targeted southern Beirut despite the Biden administration expressing its concern to Israel over the worsening situation in Beirut. The outlet also mentioned the Biden administration cautioning Israel over the humanitarian situation in Gaza, warning that it could take punitive steps, including withholding military aid.
Israel's airstrikes in Lebanon are intensifying, with little regard for civilian safety or worsening humanitarian crisis. The north has become a target area for bombing, coinciding with the expansion of evacuation orders for residents in southern villages. In southern Lebanon, the bombing has now reached Al-Zahrani area, which still houses thousands of residents, located approximately 40 kilometers from the border. The Israeli military has issued evacuation orders for these communities, as earlier this week it directed residents of 23 villages in southern Lebanon to relocate north of the Awali River. These actions have expanded the scope of evacuations to include over 136 Lebanese villages, extending more than 60 kilometers inland. In the north, at least 21 people were killed on Monday during the Israeli raid that marked the first attack on the town of Aito in the Sgata district. This raid follows another strike on Saturday that targeted the town of Deir Bella. Additionally, the Israeli military has issued evacuation warnings for residents in the region of the Bekai Valley, cautioning that it plans to conduct strikes there as well. The UN High Commissioner for Refugees reported that approximately 1/5 of Lebanon's population has been displaced from their homes, with around a quarter of the country now under Israeli military evacuation orders.
For more analysis, joining us from Beirut, Mr. Ali Himiya, military affairs expert, and via phone, Dr. Ayman Shaheen, Israeli affairs expert from Cairo. A very good day, and it's a pleasure to have you with us on our show. We start off with Mr. Himiya.
Yeah, thanks for having me with you today.
Sir, it's an utmost pleasure to be with us on our show. How do you perceive the latest Israeli offensive on municipal buildings in Nabatea that killed dozens of people, including the city's mayor, sir?
We can see the image is repeated now. What happened in Gaza and what's happening also still in Gaza is happening in Lebanon. And what will happen for all other countries in case of they want to help or support the resistance axis. That's what their message is, the Israelis, to all the Arab countries around. Those aggressions are supported and deeply involvement of the United States, because we can see all the raids that has been done in Dahia in southern suburbs of Beirut. It was done by American fighter jets using a big and large GBU-28 large bombs, 2,500 kilogram. of thermobaric and composition B and phosphoric material and the cluster bombs inside. So it's like weapon of mass destruction. So the Israelis are using the American weapon, and in some places the American are interfering directly where they see that the Israelis cannot continue by attacking some places. As we see now, they are supported by THAAD, as they said, for the enforcement of the Iron Dome. Mostly of the Iron Dome are American-made missiles. And now, and of course, all the weapons that the Israeli entity is using is also American-made. The green light is American, and the support, political support, by veto here and there in the UN is also American. So America is supporting Israel to kill all the other people surrounding the occupied territory. We saw what happened.
Israeli forces, despite Israeli forces are, of course, making atrocities and genocides. And despite this, the Biden administration cautioned Israel over the humanitarian situation in Gaza, warning that it could take punitive steps, including withholding military aid. Why do you think at this point, when America or the United States has been sending on daily basis military aid with billions, why are they changing their stance now?
We can see, we cannot believe the American, whatever they say. They are in elusive way. They talk about with us, and they prepare. And
why is the narrative changed, sir?
Excuse me?
Why is the narrative changed?
Because the American won't tell the truth.
Okay.
Usually, let me tell you this. I don't believe what they say, even like before or after. When they see that the Israelis are entrapped, they try to propose something that helps Israel. And when they see that they have the upper hand, they try to put more conditions on us. Let's see, the Israelis are not, nobody can hold back the Israelis, and the Americans are trying to be as much as supportive and involvements, deeply involved and in the participation of the Americans. So it's the American-Israeli war. So
sir,
whatever the American...
I'll go to Dr. Ayman Shaheen from Cairo. Dr. Shaheen, in your opinion, or what's your take, what Israel's military goals in expanding its bombing of southern Lebanon and evacuating more villages every day? And from your own perspective, do you think that Israel has achieved any of its objectives?
First of all, thanks a lot of having me with you. Regarding to the Israeli targets, actually, in Lebanon, they announced officially that this operation is for the sake of the return of all the Israeli settlers in the northern of Palestine 1948, what is called Israel. They are trying their best, actually, to dismantle all the military presence, military power of Hezbollah from the southern Lebanon, south of Litani River. That is the Israeli target till today. But Israel, as an expansionist state, is always looking to expand its territories, to expand its influence in the region. I can't tell that, no, the Israeli target in Lebanon is not only for the return of the Israeli settlers of the north of Palestine 1948. They have more and more targets they are trying to achieve. This is first. Second, I can understand that Israel is trying its best in Lebanon actually to make some change, some amendments of the Lebanese political party, the influence and the hegemony of Hezbollah in Lebanese politics. In this case, the Israelis will try their best to work on this target to make some change in its favor to the Lebanese political system itself, not to be under the control or under the hegemony of Hezbollah. That is Israel's political target in Lebanon. This will be done by this military operation, this type of crazy bombardment of southern Lebanon, of southern suburb of Beirut, to put an end to Hezbollah power. But the Israeli actually, till now, they did not succeed to stop any action, any military action from Hezbollah. Still missiles is launched from...
This was my question, sir, at the beginning. Did Israel achieve any of its objectives till now?
Let me be honest with you. What we, as political analysts, looking or expecting from Hezbollah, if this war will erupt between Hezbollah and Israel, we were expecting that Hezbollah will launch hundreds and hundreds of missiles against Israel, particularly in the heart of Israel, Tel Aviv, and its nativity. But
okay, yeah, sir, I'll be back again to you, but I'll go to Mr. Himaya and ask him about Israel recently targeted a UNIFIL peacekeeper tower in southern Lebanon. How do UN officials respond to that, and how will this assault affect UNIFIL's mission in Lebanon?
Can I first answer or participate in the answer with my colleague from Cairo?
Our utmost pleasure, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's see the open, wide picture of this matter. We see that like 4 weeks ago, Israel was in disaster way. I'm talking about the army. And then we saw a big change when Hochstein came to Palestine, occupied Palestine, to Tel Aviv, and he enhanced the unit 8,200, which is like a spying and artificial artificial intelligence, and then everything is changed. We can see that the electronic warfare penetration.
Sir, sorry, could you please elaborate on everything has changed and express more for everyone to understand what you mean?
I will. Everything is because the Israelis don't have this kind of technology. The American came with the new technology to unit 8,200, and they tried to penetrate the RF system of of Hezbollah. And we saw the penetration and explosion of the pagers and the Icon V82. Then everything is changed. By that, we have a big penetration, electronic penetration, electronic warfare penetration and attack. And after that, we have most of the first line leaders or commanders in Hezbollah were killed also by the American airplanes in southern suburb of Beirut. This was a big gift to the Israelis to go into a ground attack, ground attack or invasion. At the beginning, we are talking about 10 or 12 days, 11 or 12 days. Up to now, they could not like inch any inching inside South Lebanon. And beside over that, we see that Hezbollah is defending the Lebanese territory with all what he can up to now. And they could not invest all what the American gave as gifts for them by destroying the whole Lebanese cities and destroying the leaders and commanders by assassinations. But up to now, the Israeli army is so weak in South Lebanon. I'm talking about the land forces. I'm talking about the infantry. I'm talking about the armored vehicles. They are destroyed like toys in South Lebanon. But our weakness in by defending our sky coming into from the air raids and strike coming by the Israelis and the Americans. This is our weakness point. But on land, we are doing our best up to now, but we are not. I'm talking about Hezbollah. They are not using up to now more than 20% of its power. This is one thing. The other question is, ma'am, I'm talking the Israelis up to now. They killed so many journalists, correspondents, and they are hiding behind
Dr. Shaheen,
the UN.
Dr. Shaheen, do you want to comment on Mr. Ali's comments at this point?
Yeah, let me be more objective. Actually, Israel actually succeeded of killing the great majority of Hezbollah leaders, the first rank. Even Israel actually, through its first operation, which is known as the Pager operation, they were able also to reach to hundreds of Hezbollah middle leaders, middle rank of leaders. No doubt that Hezbollah is severely affected on its leadership and on its control on the ground. Yes, on the ground.
So, sir, do you read that there is vacuum in Hezbollah now?
Yes, I can see that there is a vacuum between the leadership and between the soldiers or the Hezbollah's fighters on the ground. I think that Hezbollah's fighters on the ground, they are fighting according to their bravery. They are so brave till now of defending the Lebanese territory, but Hezbollah on its leadership and control were affected severely. This is no doubt that it happened. Israel actually could reach to the head of...
So, sir, you see that this is the self-determination of the soldiers of Hezbollah and the bravery of the soldiers of Hezbollah, not the leadership of Hezbollah.
I think there is a real problem within Hezbollah regarding to the leadership and control on the ground. And one of these, the evidence of these things is that Hezbollah is launching missiles in very limited number, as I mentioned before, not like what we expected, that hundreds of missiles we were expected to, that it will reach to Tel Aviv and its nativity and to the main cities of Israel like Beersheba or...
Okay, Dr. Shaheen, the United States has expressed concerns to Israel over the civilian toll of its weeks-long bombing campaign in Beirut. How do Netanyahu's recent strikes near Beirut reflect his disregard for U.S. concerns about civilian casualties at this point?
Regarding to the American, actually, political stand, this administration, I can see the American, the administration are talking something and practicing other things. I do not believe the American administration. Always they ask Israel to, for example, let us talk about Gaza. Many times, American administration asks Israeli government to go for ceasefire, even for humanitarian aid. The United States is unable. It's not unable. In the United States of America did not and still does not use its real power and pressure on Israel to allow to the humanitarian aid to enter to the Gazians in the north in Gaza or the south in Gaza. United States can do much, but they do not want to do.
Because there is they're the allies of Israel, sir. What do you want them to do? But give Israel military aid and help Israel in their atrocities and their genocides. I will move on to Mr. Hamia at this point. After the latest deadly strikes, sir, how do you view caretaker Prime Minister Naguib Mikati's statement that Israel deliberately targeted a meeting of municipal council that was discussing the city's services in relief situation?
As we said before, the Israelis' aggression against Lebanon is widely expanded and reaching all the infrastructures. We are talking about hospitals, municipalities, churches, mosques, and even schools. So, yes, they are doing like a massive destruction of Lebanon, as they want to go and continue, as Netanyahu has declared that we will have a new Middle East. This is, I think, the point, and this is the main point, and they try to say that Israel is the strongest front line of the West. Hezbollah is the strongest first line of the resistance axis. And if they destroy Hezbollah in Lebanon, it means all the states around will go into normalizations. So they are trying to do is to subjugate all the countries around by killing and destroying and defeating Hezbollah in Lebanon. And I don't think this will do. Naguib Mikati, the prime minister in Lebanon, is trying to be as a mediator. He's trying his best in his diplomacy to avoid the Lebanese capital from any airstrike or any Israeli aggression. But I don't think it will protect Lebanon by such decisions and declares.
Okay, we move on to Dr. Shaheen. Do you think Netanyahu insists on continuing his war, considering that he told French President Emmanuel Macron that he was opposed to a unilateral ceasefire in Lebanon?
Yes, Netanyahu will continue. Nobody is going
Of course, sir, considering that Netanyahu, if this war stops, is a war crime and he goes to jail.
He won't, yeah. Netanyahu knows very well if he reached to a ceasefire in the both fronts in Gaza and in Lebanon, it means that a commission should be established from the Israeli High Court to investigate the falling of 7th of October. Netanyahu, in this case, will not be a prime minister. Then Netanyahu, he's going to jail according to the three crimes. According to the three crimes, he is going to court. Netanyahu, this war should continue in order to let him be the prime minister. If this war stopped, Netanyahu his political actual future will end in jail.
This was what I was just telling you, sir.
Sorry?
This was just what I was telling you.
Yeah. I do agree with you. That's why, first of all, for Netanyahu as a person, as a prime minister, he will continue his war. But there is another thing, that Israeli military and security camp are with the continuation of this war in Gaza and in southern Lebanon. Keep in your mind that the differences between Netanyahu and the his minister of war, Yoav Gallant, is a tactical difference. Gallant one.
True, sir. I want to go back to Mr. Hamia. Sir, in 10 seconds, because we have to wrap up this episode, how do you assess the entire situation at this point as we talk?
I think by the airstrike Israel has the upper hand on land, we will win. Even they have now about 5 divisions at the border with Lebanon, but still we are continuing fighting. And I think not only in a poem way, but I think we will win soon, inshallah.
Do you think we're going to reach a ceasefire soon, sir?
No, well, we'll try. No, this is connected to what's going on between Israel and if they attack Iran, the war will not end. It will expand maybe more than a regional or provisional war.
Of course, sir, unfortunately, we did not have time to discuss Iran in this contentious issue. Very important, of course, to have been discussing Iran. But thank you very much, sir, from Beirut, Mr. Ali Himaya, military affairs expert, for joining us and for your informative knowledge. And from Cairo, Dr. Ayman Shaheen, Israeli affairs expert. Thank you very much for joining us. That brings us to the end of today's episode of In Depth. Stay tuned for more exclusive stories here on QNews. Thank you for watching.